And after all these years.
Hello, everybody, and we are here today. I'm Tyler, joined by Ben. We're here to talk The Conjuring Last Rites, the final, Ben, we think, film in this franchise that has spanned 12 years of our lives.
Yeah.
Starting with The Conjuring in 2013 and ending probably with Conjuring Last Rites, out right now in theaters. We both had a chance to see the film on the first day. Before we jump into the review, though, just a reminder, I've got videos coming out about The Conjuring, like left and right. I've got a ranking of all the films up on our channel right now. I'm going to be ranking. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be ranking like the scariest scenes in Conjuring movies and the whole franchise.
Ooh.
Working on that today. Also, there's this book that's out now called Screaming and Conjuring that I got a review copy of and put up a quick review on that. And this is a kind of summary of the renaissance of horror in the last little bit and how we got there. And it spends a lot of time on two big franchises, the Scream franchise and the Conjuring franchise, and then how those two have influenced a lot of the horror genre in the 21st century. So check that review out as well. And the book's pretty cool. It's got the special colored edges, Ben, and all that.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah. So The Conjuring Last Rites, let's give you the quick summary for anybody unfamiliar with this franchise. This focuses on Ed and Lorraine Warren, famed paranormal investigators from the late 20th century. And this is the final chapter. This is their final case. It focuses on the Smurl haunting in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. And
such a funny name, by the way. I just gotta throw it in there.
The Smurl or
the
Pittston?
Smurls?
I know.
Well, I guess both.
In the same year that the Smurfs came out, it's going to be easy to really confuse these things.
Exactly.
But a real case, whether it's a real haunting or not, that's up for debate. But that is neither here nor there. Anyway, they in the movie the Warrens are now pretty much retired due to getting older and Ed's heart issues, and they're finding that the interest in these things is waning. So we've seen the scenes early in the other Conjuring movies where they're giving like the lecture and the hall's filled, right, and all of that. And then you get here, they turn the lights on, there's like 5 people there, and a couple of them just want to like make fun of them for, you know, making Ghostbusters references and such.
Right.
So the peak of this, which would have been around like Amityville, etc., is now gone, and we're now into this new time where people just don't have the fascination about this that they once did. And
skeptics.
They are the skeptics now. We're in the 80s. It's a very, like, conservative era, satanic panic, all that, right? And I think it's just a different era. So their daughter, Judy, who played a big role in Annabelle Comes Home, really plays a huge role in this film. Her and her fiance, who he becomes, Tony, and that they got married in real life, and I think still to this day, maybe.
Oh, wow.
So they play a large role in the movie as well, and it's Judy's connection to this case that gets Ed and Lorraine involved one last time. And
one last ride.
And it has that feel, like when they're walking up to the house, it has like that.
I know.
That epic feel, like this is the last time, you know, that we're going in and all that. It kind of does. And look, I'll be really honest. I'm a huge fan of this franchise. As far as like horror franchises go, this is my favorite one of the 21st century. You take out some of the classic 20th century ones, like, you know, your slasher ones and all that. So this is my favorite one that originated in the 21st. And I think it's largely because of the character dynamic for me. But tell me, this film alone, The Conjuring Last Rites, what did you think of it when you walked out of the theater?
Yeah, when I walked out, I actually had a pretty funny, pretty interesting theater experience.
Yeah,
so probably right when the movie starts, you got some like belligerent theater goers, in the audience, like right at the top of the theater, because we were like pretty low, like kind of towards the middle, like sort of right when you walk in, you know, and then you have the like people walking in front of the screen, like we're about there.
Oh, nice.
And at the direct top of the theater, you just hear people talking. And it's like, okay, this will probably subside once the movie starts, right?
Right.
It doesn't. Keep talking. You hear like, like, you know, stuff on their phone, like videos, like TikToks, you know, just like watching TikToks, and like it's as if the movie hadn't started. And eventually, you know, people start getting fed up. They start like yelling, like "shut up," and you know, like the usual like shushing going around. And but they keep going, so people start actually like yelling "shut up." And I notice someone gets up and immediately goes to like, you know, exits the theater, and I'm like, they're not going in the bathroom. They're going to complain
Oh yeah.
about these, and they're like kids. I think they were like college age at the oldest, which, you know, makes sense. But yeah, like probably 5-10 minutes later, they all get escorted out by the ushers.
Was it
Yeah.
orderly, or was there like yelling? Or
Yeah, there's some yelling, honestly.
okay.
It was something out of, I was like, man, theaters haven't been this rowdy since I was like a kid, you know, like a kid.
Yeah,
So it was like kind of a
I was
blast from
like-
the past.
You know, it's funny because we just on our pop culture show we just talked about a situation like that out of an AMC
Oh,
in
yeah.
Boston,
Wow.
which turned into a fight. That dude who complained got like ganged up on and beat up by the 5 or 6
Oh.
people afterward. They waited for him and like, you know, kicked
That's
the
scary.
crap out of him. But
Yeah.
you don't do that in a Conjuring movie because you may very well bring the spirit of Annabelle
I know.
or like Valak upon you. Annabelle's joining us today here.
Oh shit! I didn't even see that. No.
The Annabelle popcorn bucket from
Oh.
Marcus Theaters is joining us today.
That is cursed. How do
I
you
know,
sleep with
it's-
that in your house?
It does,
In
like
your
I just
home?
love horror movies. It doesn't bother me. It's you know it's fine. Um,
Oh no.
but yeah, I was telling Steven and our team about it, and he's like, "There's no chance that would ever get in my house." And
No.
I was like, so, but yeah, it's the Annabelle popcorn bucket. And I had enough credits built up at Marcus Theaters.
Okay.
Because I go to so many freaking movies that I got it for nothing. I was able to just spend
Hell
the
yeah.
credits on it and get it. Because otherwise, I think it was like $40. I never would have paid $40.
Yeah, they're like asinine prices. It's insane.
Yeah. So anyway, cool. I thought it's one of the better popcorn buckets. It's not the Dune popcorn bucket, but it's you
No.
know, you don't want
not
it to
quite.
be like you don't want that dynamic with Annabelle really. So yeah.
Did you enjoy eating popcorn with Annabelle?
I didn't even get popcorn. Like
Oh.
I didn't even want it. I just wanted the bucket. Like so minor pet peeve of mine. It amazes me how people cannot like once they sit down in the movie theater, they're incapable of getting through 2 hours of their lives without eating like a lot.
Yeah.
And things that are really loud.
The crinkling of the wrappers, for
Oh,
sure.
the rappers, and undoubtedly those people will be right next to me, and it's after a while it's all I can focus on, and I hate it. Like, it's just yeah. But the good news, Ben, is that this was one of the most full theaters I've been in for like an afternoon showing of a movie this year.
Yeah, mine was very
And
full as well.
The Conjuring's done really well at first, and this is why I don't think this is going to be the last movie. This very well might be the last Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga movie, which I get. I think they're both in their early 50s now, and they probably just don't want to play these roles forever. But,
Yeah, it's been a lot.
yeah. But the theater was still pretty full. I think the movie's already done about $40 million in the first couple of days.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
is
it's got big name
huge.
recognition. Like you said, like the biggest horror movie probably series of this generation, this century. So,
I
That
would
makes
agree.
sense.
I rather liked the film. I think it
yeah.
did a really nice job of bringing the sense of closure. Like it just had a feeling of finality through it. I don't know if you got that from it as well,
Yeah, totally.
but it just had this feeling of saying goodbye to these characters that I have come to really enjoy spending time with over the last, 13 years. And
Yeah.
I don't think I could say the same for the real Ed and Lorraine,
No.
but that kind
I
of
don't have
brings
that
me to
same
my-
charm.
Yeah, no. So that brings me to a question for you here. Like, Ed and Lorraine Warren in real life, and look, the Conjuring verse version of these characters is super fictionalized, right? And it is,
Yeah,
they are
totally.
very much glazed in these movies, and they are like treated as like heroes and very pure and all of that, and I like that
Yes.
version of them on screen, but I also know that that's not the real thing.
Right.
Does it bother you knowing that in real life they were at best like just telling crazy stories, and at worst like outward con artists that were taking advantage of people? Like, does
Yeah.
that impact your enjoyment of these films?
I mean, not necessarily, because I feel like with these types of movies, you're kind of going into it, you know, even with the historical kind of caveat, knowing like, okay, this is like a really dramatized version at best, and it's like a horror movie, you know, it's meant to like spook you, it's meant to just evoke like the most extreme reactions out of you, so it's going to be kind of hard to do that with, you know, not the most like savory facts that I'm sure kind of exists about these people. And, you know, they kind of go into it, I feel like, in some of the early movies about, you know, how everything's like a hoax and how they have to kind of convince like both the public, you know, and like the church, that they always
Yeah.
sort of need to receive, like, I don't know if it's funding or just like approval from.
Well, the
to,
church
like,
has to. The church's reputation is on the line, so they don't
Yeah.
want to just send people out to do any
Right.
exorcism, right? They want ironclad proof that it's real before they even get involved.
right.
So,
Because there's a few movies where they work like directly in tandem with like, yeah, like a priest that's, you know, been assigned from the church or whatever, but I think they sometimes kind of just go rogue, because usually the priest ends up like dying or something horrible happens to them
well,
along the way.
the priest that has been a common thread throughout this series does pass away in this movie. Very violently, actually.
Right.
And it's, you know, by the way, spoilers, I guess. We should throw that out
Yeah,
there.
I
But,
guess that's in spoiler territory now.
but it's the last film. You know, we're going to say goodbye in a very final way to some people here.
Mhm.
Even though this franchise is not known for a lot of actual death. I mean, the characters in these movies don't really die, you know?
Yeah, I think you notice as the movies go on, like in sequence, that the visuals get. I think it's kind of more desensitization just of movie goers and just like, you know, the general public, because I feel like so many movies are just kind of just like, you know, base, just you know, violence, like sprees
Yeah.
of violence, and you know,
It's,
you have a lot
It
more graphic
started-
stuff these days
it
compared
started
to like the
with
first movie.
Hostel, in my opinion, and it's just ramped up from there.
Yeah.
But these are, and I guess that we'll come to the second knock against this franchise from people. I want to get your take on this, is that they are just like jump scare simulators, and there's nothing really to them. I reject
Yeah.
that. I mean, yeah, there's jump scares, but it's a horror movie. Like, what do you think you're getting here?
Right.
I don't know. What's your take?
No, yeah, I mean, this movie in particular genuinely felt like I was like scared the whole time I was in that theater, you know? And I think it's also having to do with not really seeing a ton of horror movies in the theaters probably recently for me, but
It's
just
so
like
different when you get
the
it in
atmosphere.
theater.
Yeah, exactly. From watching it at home, you know, where you're just kind of like, it's on a TV and you're like distracted by other shit going on. It's like, no, this is like, you're in there, you know, with them, and it's all dark, and, you know, I've seen some knocks on like the lighting being kind of like tacky maybe for this in this film, but
It is really dark.
Yeah.
Like from a lighting standpoint. And I don't know, at points I thought maybe you were just trying to influence us to be a little more scared, which I get,
Right.
but you could have,
and I think
like,
that's just having to do with like, yeah, the recent conventions of horror movies and just movies in general, just going like all in, like full, you know, shock, sensation,
yeah,
you know, if that makes
I
sense.
would agree. No,
Sensationalist,
100%.
maybe. Yeah.
And the final one I want to just talk about real quick before we kind of dive into the meat of this movie is, like, one of the other knocks on this is, like, the Conjuring proper films are often really really loosely based versions of the accounts of the actual events.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
this one is no different. The Enfield one, Conjuring 2, is probably the most, like, completely changed up, because Ed and Lorraine Warren had, like, almost no involvement in that case at all from a real standpoint. Like,
Right.
they
That's
showed
the
up,
one where they're in it the least, right?
yeah, well, no, they're in the movie a decent amount, but
Okay.
in real life, they were involved in the case, like, not at all. They showed up, did a couple of interviews, and like walked around the house or whatever, and then they told the family like, you should reach out to people because you'll be able to make money telling your story, and then they left. Like, that was the real involvement. In Conjuring 2, they saved the day, you know? So,
Yeah.
Here as well, like, they don't, in real life, the haunting doesn't end with some final, you know, cataclysmic showdown. It continued beyond, you know, the end of this, what is the end of this movie. Like, what do you think? Do you need it to be true to events? Do you need it to be, do you not care? Where are you at with that?
No, yeah, I think definitely not. I mean, again, I think it's, if you're going into a horror movie looking for realism and something you can kind of tie to reality and what happens in your everyday life, I think you're going for the wrong reasons, but,
Right.
you know, to each their own. But yeah, I think a lot of people, and, you know, from, you know, just people I've talked to about the series, I think people are just, you know, they just want a thrill. They just want like a, you know, story, and yeah, you get attached to these characters and also like sort of this universe and how all of these, because I did, you know, I looked up like, I think the first movie, like the demon is named Bathsheba, and you know, they're like, you know, they're like real, they're not, maybe not real like
There is a
demons
folklore
necessarily
tale attached.
yeah, like that's a biblical, like, you know, name from the Bible, and it's like it's interesting that they tie that, you know, to demonology. And actually a lot of like demonology is like really heavily based in, you know, the Bible and Christianity, so, you know, there's an interesting dichotomy there.
From Conjuring 2 has stories that go way, way, way back as well.
Yep, exactly.
You know, the Annabelle,
yeah, that one I haven't even looked into. So, yeah, right. I think they get into, in this movie, and it's a little spoiler, I don't know, we can go into it later, but I think there's like they talk slightly like for a little bit about the demon that's like caused all of this shit, you know, like everything that, like the reason that all these movies, you know, stories are occurring. I don't know if they really get into it that much, but I think they like briefly touch on it, right? Or they like show them.
So in this film, Lorraine says when she goes in and she does her like powers, because she's clairvoyant, right?
Yeah.
She says there's actually 3 demons here. In reality, they said there were 4. And I'm trying to get the name of the big bad here. And I can't
all I can think of is I'm waiting for that Annabelle popcorn bucket to get up and start hovering or something. Right?
So
Jesus.
It makes me think of one of the scariest moments for me in the entire franchise, where in the first Annabelle, which otherwise is not a great movie, the scene where the little girl's sitting on the bedroom floor, she gets up and starts running at a door that's closing, and when the door breaks open at this woman, she's now this like crazed adult, like specter looking like badass. And it's like, Jesus. That's what I wait for this thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I don't know, like I found this movie to have a good amount of tension. The one thing that took away from me was the CGI here at times was silly.
Yeah, I think the main kind of old lady demon, like the face was a little, you could tell kind of AI or CGI.
It was mean to hell when the trailer came out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know. I mean, if you want a more true to life account of the Smurl haunting, there's a TV movie that came out in the early 90s called The Haunted.
Okay.
That you can check out. But I mean, this is, you know, these are very focused on the Warrens and making them out to be like, you know, the Mulder and Scully of real life kind of,
yeah,
you know, type of thing. And there's the one thing that I do want to talk about with the Smurl haunting is like they did in this film, Michael Shav's the director, included like some of the really like hallmark things of this haunting in this movie. So like the doll, the glass, right, the vomiting and all of that. And
that one was crazy.
One other thing that's a really like kind of sensitive part of this, that I think they filmed incredibly well here. Because if you know about it, you know what's happening, and if you don't know about it, you won't pick it up.
Okay.
But the husband, Jack, claimed he was sexually assaulted by the spirits.
The husband. Why can't I remember the husband? Okay, yeah, old guy with like glasses,
Glasses,
kind of older
mustache,
guy.
all that.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
80s looking type of dude.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Wow. Okay.
And so he claimed he was sexually assaulted repeatedly by the spirits, demons, whatever. And that's happening in the scene where he's lifted up off the bed.
Oh, really?
But if you don't know it,
You
think
wouldn't-
he's
yeah.
just being fucked with, kind of, you know?
Because that is kind of a thing that happens multiple times throughout the series. Is like that whole levitation,
The
whatever
levitation,
process.
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Sexual assault, no. This is the first time. First time we've had a demon get freaky
Right.
with someone.
But if you've only seen the movie, like I just saw these movies, some of them for the first time recently, that's, you wouldn't think otherwise. Like I think the
Right.
very first movie has that, one of the final scenes, the mom being lifted up in the chair. It's like one of the scariest parts of the whole movie. So,
Yep.
okay, wow, that's interesting context.
So that is happening. So I think there was some care taken to get some of the key things in this right, but done in a way that stays true to the franchise and you know the on-screen franchise and all of that.
It's a little more tasteful, I guess, if you
yeah.
can call it that.
If you know, you know, and if you don't, you're not going to be bothered by it. You know, like it's fine. So I guess at this point, well, last thing before spoilers, I do want to call out Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. To me, they're the heart and soul of this entire franchise.
Yeah.
They are these characters. Like, their chemistry is so good.
Yeah, totally.
And Patrick Wilson in Insidious, like, at times isn't always amazing. But...
I forgot he was in that. Was he the dad in that?
Yes. In 3 of them, maybe 4 of them, I don't remember.
Shit.
He came back to it in the latest one, the last or whatever.
Oh, the most recent one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he is
He's a veteran
everywhere.
of the series.
Like, yeah.
Or of the genre.
He
Yeah,
is. He and
totally.
Ethan Hawke. Is Ethan Hawke's in like every horror
Yeah.
movie now.
Did you see that trailer for that new one that he's in? That looks
Black Phone
really
2.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a Black Phone 1. I was like, what is this
Yeah,
series?
it also stars the dude from How to Train Your Dragon, the guy who played
Oh, the live action?
Hiccup. Yep.
Okay. There you
So
go.
Mason Thames, who I think is going to become more of a household name here in the next few years. But
Nice.
yeah, this I think those two actors are the lifeblood of this series, and they bring it to
Totally.
life, and they really add this like heart to it that doesn't exist in other horror franchises. Kind of what's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you even see like kind of an effort from what I've noticed as the series goes on, by the filmmakers to kind of like humanize them even more. Like I can't stop thinking of that like, kind of cringy like Elvis scene where he's singing, he's playing the acoustic guitar and he's like singing to the kids. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna sing the whole song now, isn't he?
Yeah,
And it's like a whole
funny though,
scene.
because like some people love that scene,
Really?
and
I
others
thought it
are
was
right
funny.
with you.
Yeah.
And I what I like about it, I guess, it is hokey, like for sure.
Yeah.
But the character is hokey.
It's by design,
Like,
right?
Yeah, and I feel that it's what I really like about it is that these characters go out of their way to try to bring some normalcy and like whatever to these families when they're there.
Yeah.
And that gets hit on in this movie with the talk about like, do you make pancakes every time?
I know. Yeah.
And
There's
I
little
thought
running
that was
jokes.
kind of a nice moment in this movie, but yeah, I'm with you. The Elvis scene, like, and it's take it or leave it. You're gonna love it or hate it, probably. But
Yeah. I just noticed that with time, it kind of the movies you can tell sort of become even more just about like the Warrens
yes.
per se. It's not necessarily like just about the Conjuring, anymore. It's not about these like paranormal activities, for lack of a better word, that happen.
And I think
which is
that's,
an interesting choice too.
and I think one of the reasons for that is like the first 2 are directed by James Wan,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 and 4 in the proper series are directed by Michael Schaafs.
Yeah.
And I think that might have a big part in that. Now, James Wan came back as a writer and producer of this movie to send it
Right.
off, the right way. But Michael Chaves has directed in the series till now The Curse of La Llorona, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and The Nun 2.
And these are all like completely out of like chronological order, besides like the very last one, for the most part, right?
Yeah, so the Conjuring proper, those like 1 through 4 are in chronological, but like La Llorona has the opening scene take place like in the 1500s, and then that the main part of that movie is in the late 1970s. Annabelle creation is in the 1950s, with part of it in the 40s, whereas Annabelle 1 is like in the 60s. So yeah, they're all over the place, and maybe that's another video I can do, a whole timeline, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I feel like when I list those and then The Conjuring Last Rites, I think this is by far Michael Chaves' best Conjuring outing.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that any of the other ones sucked. I know La Llorona has like some haters, and I get it. I don't hate the movie. I don't love the movie either.
I mean, they're like 10 movies deep at this point. They're all not gonna, they're 10, not all going to be
and
winners.
La Llorona isn't technically canon, but it is, because it has a character in the priest, and the priest is carrying Annabelle out of a place in a scene in the movie. Like it's part of the canon. So
is the monkey canon?
The Stephen King one?
Isn't there a monkey? The monkey that they show in the room? Didn't they make a movie about that? Or is that Stephen King?
No, that's a Stephen King movie. You're thinking
oh
different
shit.
One. Yeah.
What's the part where he shows them the monkey?
The monkey is one of their very first artifacts, I think, that they collected.
Yeah. And that's separate from the Stephen King thing?
Totally separate, yep. King might have gotten the inspiration for that short story from the real lore behind said monkey. I don't know.
But it looks like the exact same monkey that's in that movie.
I kind of feel like all creepy ass monkeys kind of look very similar. Especially when they've got the symbols and the whatever.
Right.
Know?
It could just be a monkey thing.
What do you think of the museum room? Like, would you go in there?
Yeah. That shit is even more cursed. That's where the popcorn bucket belongs, I think. The artifact theater version.
So that brings me to my next question. The theater. First of all, would you go in it? Like, there are tours of that room.
No shot. Are there?
Okay. Yeah.
Like the real one?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So
with the artifacts in it?
Yes, including Annabelle.
Give me so much money.
And the real Annabelle doll, by the way,
is the pièce de résistance.
I know the real Annabelle doll, by the way, is a like Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, I'm sure. That makes sense.
And there's a nod to that in Annabelle creation at the very end, when the girl who becomes the Annabelle, spirit, is given a Raggedy Ann doll by her adoptive parents.
Oof.
So there's a nod to that there, but. The reason I'm asking you is because, James Wan says this is it. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they want to bring an end to this before they're 25 movies deep and really kind of just not good anymore, right? Redundant. And that was kind of what he said in what I'm pretty sure was a shot at the MCU, and rightfully so.
Totally. That totally is.
But Warner Brothers has said that they hope that this is just the end of Phase 1. So Warner Brothers wants the MCU, wants scary MCU.
Oh no.
What do you think? Like, yay or nay, is this it?
And if it's it completely, probably nay, because I think they still might do some more like side ones, like more nuns or
Yeah,
more
we also
Annabelle
left
stuff.
the door open to The Conjuring: The Next Generation with Judy and Tony.
Yeah,
her husband.
Exactly. Because we know Judy has like a lot of shit going on.
Well,
she's always getting possessed and stuff.
She has clairvoyant powers, like Lorraine, and they're getting stronger. And in real life, she went on to follow her parents' footsteps.
I honestly thought this movie was gonna go when they started talking about, showing at the beginning, like Ed and Lorraine's like earliest, like when they first met. I thought there was gonna be more of their first. I mean, I guess they did kind of show it, like their first experience with, spirits and demons.
But that's why this was the hardest case on them, because their first
Right.
case came back to haunt them at the end, and all that.
Yeah, it
and
did.
We'll get to that with the mirror, and I guess spoilers ahead, everybody. So this is your warning. But so the reason I asked about it is this done, Ben, and we brought up the museum room. Is first of all, I would 100% go in the museum room. Like, hell yes, let's go and let's see all this stuff.
You were braver than I.
I'm not going to touch anything because I'm not dumb, but I would
Right.
love to go in there. Two, Matt Rife, the comedian, bought the Warrens' home and their entire collection of trinkets, museum,
Oh my
haunted
God.
things. I don't know if you.
What
knew
is he
this.
from again?
He's the
I know
comedian,
that name.
like stand-up comedian. He's like 20 something and
Yeah. This guy.
kind of, a lot of people don't love him a whole lot, but he's also extremely popular with a lot of people. So
A lot of people
he
are popular
is-
that aren't the best people these days.
yeah, I think The Conjuring 5 should be Matt Rife unleashing and selling these things and having like a garage sale and then having
God.
all hell break loose.
Yeah. You got like 15 different conjurings for 15 people.
Yeah. It would be like Super Conjuring, and the end of the world is brought upon us by Matt Rife, which is probably the most believable Conjuring story so far.
Yes.
I don't even know. When I read that story, I don't even know what to think about that. Like, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga were talking about it, and they're just like, wow, just don't let Annabelle out.
I
That's
know.
kind of what they were saying.
Kind of indifferent on it.
As far as whether or not this is the end, Ben, I'm with you. I think this is probably the end of Ed and Lorraine Warren, especially played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. This is it. But
Yeah.
this is going to continue. This movie's already doing massive money.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as people love to say they want new IPs, people love a familiar, reliable property that they can go and know what they're going to get.
They just want to see like the faces they know.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like we've been seeing movies with these people for 12 years now, so
And at
It's
the end of the day,
familiar.
money talks, and they might get these two back again.
yeah, right. Maybe like a smaller cameo, because I think
Yeah,
them
or-
calling it Last Rites is like they're done, in this series.
Yeah. But, at one point, Indiana Jones went on a last crusade, and that turned
Right.
out to not do
Yeah.
what they intended either. But
It's true.
I will tell you, though, as we dig into this movie now, my feelings on this film, Ben, will drop dramatically if they come back as main characters in a fifth movie.
Because it would kind of ruin the whole point of this one.
I think, like, the whole point of this movie is a feeling of endings. And when you talk themes of this one, it's the ending of career and the ending and facing mortality and facing their daughter not being their little girl anymore, right? And getting married.
Yeah,
and
she's
all
growing
those
up.
things, and having to let her stand on her own.
Well, we
and
see
all
how
of
that
that.
works out for them
Yeah.
towards the end.
Right? But like the whole message throughout was, Lorraine telling Judy, you have to turn away from all these things and ignore them and
Right.
don't embrace them. And then at the end, it turns into, you have to look into it and face it. Right?
Yeah. We can't do it
so
for
the-
you anymore.
Yep. So there's that evolution of these characters. And so this movie starts out with a case where Lorraine is very much pregnant with Judy way back in the 1950s. And they're on this case where they investigate this evil mirror that is possessed. When Lorraine touches the mirror, it cracks, and then it like possesses her and the baby, and it wants the baby. She goes into labor. They end up rushing to the hospital. The baby is stillborn, which actually happened, by the way. The baby was
Wow.
for like a minute.
And then came back to life.
Yep.
Wow.
And then we fast forward in time now, and it turns out this mirror ends up in the Smurl household. Because Graham and Grandpa Meaningwell bought it as a confirmation gift, which is super ironic.
Yeah.
Here, for your confirmation, you get a demon.
I know. Multiple demons, I think.
Multiple demons, yeah. But the demon,
Nice.
the main baddie, and the demon in the mirror brought out the other spirits from the home, right? It was
Yeah.
like
Right.
the whatever, and then they
The
hatched
catalyst
guy
demon.
and old lady and whatever.
Yeah.
So the big bad is using the other spirits as like the way to force them into like fear and be able to take possession and win in the end. And the whole, it seemed like the whole thing, did you feel like the whole thing was sort of a ruse to lure Ed and Lorraine back to
Yeah.
finish kind of what they started?
I could see that. Yeah. Sort of calling back to them from years past.
Because it felt like what the mirror really wanted was Judy.
I know.
And I think, Judy ends up at the house by the third act, and the Warrens end up at the house when they find out Judy went there. And then we get
Right.
them back, and they're doing all their Warren stuff. But on the way to that, though, there are some really good scares, I think. And I think better than what we saw in The Devil Made Me Do It, even.
Yeah.
What were your favorite scares in the movie?
I'm trying to think. I think the first, I don't know if it's the first one, but it's pretty early on where you see that kind of, it starts out with a shot of like the pinwheel slowly moving outside. And then there's just like, it's like setting the scene from like outside the house. And then as soon as you go into the house, like you can tell it's one of those, it's like a common in pretty much all horror movies now. It's like quiet. It's like cameras slowly panning up or, down or wherever it's going. And you don't quite see it, but something's going to pop up like right in the corner. And then as soon as you think it's going to happen, like it'll do like a fake out or, I don't remember the exact scare, but I know like in that part, there was something scary.
Well,
I
I'll
don't
tell
know
you,
if
for
you
me,
remember.
it's anytime in this franchise the words "miss me" are written.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
is then Annabelle's
It's
back,
not
and I
good.
love that continuation was there from Annabelle Comes Home, in that Annabelle, the spirit in Annabelle, which is Malthus, has identified Judy now as a threat because Judy is a
Yeah.
descendant of Lorraine, who is related to the nun from the Nun films, right? And so she's identified that lineage as a threat, and plus Judy kind of defeated Malthus in Annabelle Comes Home. So now Malthus is back to try to get Judy here, and
Okay.
so I kind of liked that. And I will tell you, with our friend here, if the words "miss me" show up on my wall,
Yeah,
then
that's
it's
no
gone. I'm
Yeah.
mailing it to you.
good. Oh no.
So, but
The Conjuring continues.
yeah. So I liked that a lot. The mirror's creepy, dude.
The mirror is creepy for all like the kind of, I don't know, goofy antics at the end that are caused.
There were some, man.
Yeah, it's, every time it like starts, it reminds me of that like hypnotism thing. I don't know which movie that was
Yes.
from at this point, but like you kind of see like an image in there, someone's face. Yeah, every time you look into there, it's nothing good can come out of it. So
So, a couple things. Like, one, the mirror's superpower appears to be spinning really fast, which I don't
it's
know.
just like it's heavy, it's a glass
Yeah.
mirror. It's big, like nothing can be good. Even if
It
it's not
added
haunted,
some-
like that's scary.
It added some dramatic effect, right, for that.
Yeah.
I love the mirrors in these types of movies, because what it really is a signal to like how hard and scary it is to look inside yourself, right, and face your own demons.
Totally.
The other lesson to be learned here is that Ed needs a more like foolproof container for his pills,
I know. Oh my god.
because he ends up in every climax of these movies in 3 and 4 without the pills he needs
Right.
for his heart issues. And Lorraine,
It's like one spill and they're all gone in like
they're
one
gone. Like, it's
fell
over.
swoop. Yeah. They're all over the
Lorraine
floor.
had him covered in the third one, but she was a little occupied here
Yeah.
with the mirror. So
Right,
he was,
she had other things
kind of
going
on his
on.
own, and then I think it was the mom, right, of the Smurl family that
Yeah,
helped him.
she actually
I
yeah
think,
helps
yeah.
him out.
Yeah,
Stops his
she's
heart
moving
attack
in
from
on Lorraine's
happening.
man.
I know,
Moving
right?
in. Um, Lorraine's gonna turn Annabelle on her now, just to kind
Yeah,
of
you don't want to mess
get
with her.
back.
She can control all this
Yeah,
shit probably.
she can do some shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I thought the scares were there. I think that I mean,
Yeah. It was more like
the,
ambiance, like atmosphere, scary for me. And
yes,
again, I think it's like the theater experience totally like plunges
huh?
you into that. But yeah, it's like the fake outs get you, like it's just when they start, I think when she's in the woods and she sees like the girls running, or is that this movie? I might be thinking of another
No,
one.
that's you're thinking 3.
Yeah, and it's like they're just like playing around, but it's really scary, like those fake
Yeah,
outs are really good.
this is what happens when you watch them all like in a row.
Yeah, that was
Um,
a big undertaking.
so yeah, I agree with you on the theater part though. Like there are people on our
Yeah,
team who are gonna watch this at home, and I guarantee their take is gonna be different than ours.
yeah,
It's
probably.
gonna be just a little bit of like, I didn't really dig the atmosphere as much. Whereas in the theater, it's a whole different deal. And the sound plays a huge part in that too.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Yeah, and it's loud but it should be in this type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's always kind of the complaint I guess I have for horror movies is it's so quiet when it's just dialogue and there's like 10 or 15 minute stretches of just dialogue. So you turn that shit up to like 50 or 60, and then once a huge jump scare comes, it's like rumbles the whole
I know.
apartment or house, and you just like turn that back down. Like goddamn,
Scares the shit out. I know.
can't control that in the movie theater though. That shit's at
Nope.
100 the whole time. So
Yep.
have fun.
Which I like.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I like seeing horror movies in the theater, much more than at home.
Yeah, honestly,
But
I think seeing this the other night is like giving me like a newfound enjoyment for doing that. I'm definitely gonna try it.
yeah,
It's the perfect time of the year, so
now
gonna have to
you're
see
gonna
some
go
more.
off and see Black Phone, and next week we've
Yeah,
got
right. Something
The
like
Long
that.
Walk, which is like more tension than horror, I would say, but still. Um,
Some Stephen King goodness.
Stephen King stuff. But he wrote that book when he was 19, by the
Wow,
way, which is incredible.
that's
And
crazy.
it when you look at the themes of that book, I'm going to do a video later this week on kind of themes of the Long Walk book
Hmm.
and how they might relate to the movie. Is like those themes are so much even more applicable today, I think, than back then. But to kind of wrap this up, fan service, Ben, like there was fan service throughout. Like we got the guy who was with them originally in the original Conjuring got like the chunk of his face taken off. Like he was
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He was grilling. Tony talked to
The
him. And he's
cop.
like, "Oh, did you ever see one?" And
Right.
it's like, "Oh yeah, right here." Um.
I know.
So we got to see him. I think the thing that really hit me the most was at the very end. The dance is happening, right? And it's at the wedding. We've got Judy
Hmm.
dancing with Tony. We have Ed and Lorraine dancing together. And Lorraine's like, I had another vision. And he's like, well, what was it? And she's like, it's of our future. And she goes through all these things, right? Like we
Yeah.
finally wrote our book and it was awful and all these things, right? And but what she's doing is telling the real life future of the Warrens at that point.
Okay.
And
And
so
then we get a
all,
pretty like full retrospective at the
yeah,
end with the
yeah,
credits.
you get
Yeah.
the whole like, the what
They went
happened
on
in the
to do
future
this.
thing.
Yeah. How did
type
they,
of thing.
or how did
Um,
Ed die?
hmm And he passed away like in what 2005 or six.
Yeah. I remember he was 72. I don't remember the exact year.
Yeah.
I think he had another
She
stroke.
She
Sucks.
passed away in 19.
Oh, okay. Pretty recent.
Yeah, so she was in her 90s when
Yeah.
she passed. She was there as like a consultant for the first 2 Conjuring films.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
awesome. That makes
At
sense.
least for the first one. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that might have something to do with why they're treated with such reverence in these movies too. Because
Yeah.
they're able to build personal relationships, right? And
Right. They
all that.
played ball
Yeah.
for a while.
But I liked that scene. I kind of like where it brought that sense of closure, and I think that's why when I said if you do a 5th one of these and you bring these 2 back as like the principal leads, that's gonna affect that for me. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't even. Yeah,
No.
they can't be like the main characters. At least like at this current age, it has to be like a younger. Because yeah, the actors they use, for their younger selves were pretty solid.
Especially the Ed actor, I thought he was like
Yeah.
spot on.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. I feel like you could James Bond this thing and put different actors in there and go.
Totally. Yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to hit
Generations or the Conjuring Generations or something like that.
Conjuring the Next Generation. Or
Bloodlines.
something,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, every franchise has to have bloodlines in it
I
at some
know.
point. I think it's just a requirement at this point in time.
Yeah.
Um,
They really kind of laid on with the humor too, at least for these movies. I noticed. I
Yeah.
think that's also just like modern movie, seeping in. But the first like hour was pretty kind of jokey, if you want to call it that.
It
Way
was.
more than the first three, like combined, if you ask me.
Yeah, the second one had some really nice drops of humor in it, especially when Ed gets the camcorder, right? This big ass thing, and he's like, it's so
Oh, yeah.
small and light,
That's true. They're just old, showcasing how
Right.
old they are.
Yeah, so we're just showcasing that this is 1977,
Right.
whatever. I think it was 77, I think. So,
Yeah.
so now that you've seen them all, where does this one fit in for you with the Conjuring proper?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, yeah, I think the first one's obviously the best. I think I could even, I might rank it like second or third, because the second one is very good too. It's kind of hard to surpass that. That one's scary. I don't know, they're all scary. The first two,
Yeah.
honestly, are like they're really like creepy because they just feel more original, and there's
It's
more
the
of like
newness.
this sense that this could be real. Yeah, exactly. So maybe by now we've kind of seen a lot of it, and we're seeing like recurring characters, and even like the same kind of demons or whatever demons being talked about. So
Yeah, there's a bit of a
I'd probably
formula
go
at
with
this point.
3. Yeah, number 3.
Okay.
Solid 3,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
that's where I would go as well. I actually put 2 in front of 1. For me.
okay. Nice.
And I just find 2 to be a little bit scarier, and I find Valak to be a more interesting, slightly
Yeah.
demon than Bathsheba. They're both
Right.
great, but
Well, it has more legs because the nun is it's all her or
yeah.
them, I guess, right? Yeah.
And then you have what's his name? The other dude in there too.
Yeah.
Who I think is also
forget his
possessed
name.
by Valak, but just a different.
Oh,
Like
the kid, like teenager guy.
The really tall, dude with the hat in Conjuring 2 that chases him down the hallway and whatnot. I can't remember.
Tall dude with
We'll
the
be
hat.
corrected in comments, don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watch the video where we rank them all, but I will tell you I have this one definitely solidly in the top half of the Conjuring universe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's significantly better than movies like Annabelle or La Llorona or the first.
Probably
Nun.
both of the Nun movies. Yeah.
It's better than both the Nuns. Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
Nun 2. I think the Nun 2 is a good time, and it's pretty creepy.
That's the Sydney Sweeney one, right?
Yes.
Is she in that? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like the young nun or whatever.
Mhm. And honestly, the Nun has one of my favorite characters in the franchise, which is Frenchie. I think he's just
Yeah.
a lot of fun. So it's a good time. But Ben put a score on this thing. We liked it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go 8 out of 10 with The Conjuring Last Rites, and look, I mean, we're higher than I think where a lot of other reviewers
Definitely.
are coming in, but I
Yeah.
feel that a lot of reviewers always kind of go into horror movies with their noses and pinkies in the air.
Right. That's not what it's
And-
for.
It's not what it's for.
You
I
gotta
don't
drop
know.
that.
This is one horror series though that has themes as well as scares and really
Yeah.
decent character development throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, when you look at the journey, and I guess that's the last thing I want to hit on before we go, because I meant to say it before and I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of fans, and there are going to be fans who don't like this movie.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I think one of the biggest reasons is going to be that people want the Ed and Lorraine in their prime fighting the Bathsheba of the first one, right? Or the Enfield Valak in the second one.
Mm,
I think it's okay to tell a story that has an end.
sure.
And sees characters later in life facing different things and facing endings. And I think that brings a conclusion to a story that we've now gone on with these people for 13 years.
Mm.
Where are you at with that? Do you always like to see him like the Dark Knight, everything's like right in the prime, or are you good with having this arc that includes an ending where they're maybe not what they once were and looking at different things?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing that can really be more final than, literally talking about how they died, at the end of the movie, like in reality, sort of like documentary style, which is kind of how they approached most of these movies, now that I think about it. They have like, this really happened, X, Y, and Z. Here's The Conjuring, or here's The Conjuring 2, here's The Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It, whatever. So at the end of the day, like, these are still real people. They didn't live forever. Obviously, we know what happened to them. And, you can only tell so many fictional or kind of like loosely, historical accounts of stuff that happened in their lives until it's like, all right, we got to kind of move on.
We've
Yeah.
done 4 of them.
We covered their most scary, or we covered their 4 most scary, according to, because they always say like, oh, this was the one that made them just consider quitting, or this is their worst yet.
It's funny though, because their most famous one is Amityville, and that only
Right.
gets hit on at the very beginning of 2.
Yeah, that's the one that's had the most by far, like actual documentaries or other series based on it that.
But I wonder
account.
if Amityville was just. I wonder if it was a choice because there's been other movies on it.
Yeah, probably.
Or if it was a licensing thing that they couldn't. I don't know.
Mm.
Well, it couldn't be that because there was an Amityville portion of Conjuring 2. So
Yeah,
it had to have just
exactly.
been. There's been enough on this already. We'll do something
Right.
different. But, and then before we get out of here, if you could make a living being a ghost hunter, paranormal investigator, would
A
you do it?
Ghostbuster. I don't know. I don't think I would last. I really don't.
I mean, you won't even go in like the museum room.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I skeeve that stuff, man.
If somebody was outside the theater and was like, "Here, I'm going to give this to you for free," would
Yeah.
you take it?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a
Okay.
It'd have to come with like a wad of cash in the
right.
bucket.
How much cash is enough for you to be terrorized and haunted?
That's
for
the
the rest
thing.
of
I don't
your
know,
days?
because it's like you can't even call up Ed and Lorraine anymore to come.
No, but
fix it.
her
Who are you gonna
their
call?
daughter's
Literally,
still around. She's 79
That's
now,
true.
but maybe she could, still get some things done at 79. I don't know.
Judy. Yeah, she might
Maybe
be.
she's passed along the visioning to
Yeah,
her,
that's true.
You know?
That's why we got to get the Generations movie
do.
going. Get
We
the
do,
next set of heroes.
And because, yeah. So, I'll tell you right now, I would 100% do it. Like, put me
Yeah,
in
I
the,
mean,
like, haunted house
I know
for the
you would.
night. And, as long as I'm not by myself. Like, you assholes are coming with. But we're
Okay,
going to
that's
go
fair.
and do it and have, the camera work and all the stuff and, try to locate. Because, you can go on Amazon and you can buy ghost hunting equipment kits.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, we're that close to making this happen.
For the low price of whatever.
I think they're like $100. I don't know.
Yeah. The
So-
UV lights to track like all their footsteps and
Yeah, and like
shit.
the fucking meter that shows you, like if there's spirits or whatever.
Right.
All that
I
shit.
guess I was a little surprised there wasn't more of that kind of. I don't know. I guess it is kind of like becoming Ghostbusters, but they would have like gadgets and devices to kind of track all this. Because like, why does he get a UV light, pull it out of nowhere, and then?
I felt like we got a lot more of that in especially the first 2.
Yeah.
And
Right.
by this point, I think they just because they didn't even show up in the house till the 3rd act.
I know.
So I think
It took him like an hour to. I think I saw one comment. One of the funniest comments was like, it takes him like an hour and a half to get him into the house that everyone knows they're going into anyways
Right.
for the whole movie. It's like, yeah, I guess that's a fair critique.
I mean, it is. We all know they're going to end up there. It's just how and, the impact that it's going to have on them. But I do think it accentuated the impact that it had on the characters and what we felt for the characters by having them resist it for so long and then finally do it.
Right.
And why they did. So.
And they even brought back, we kind of forgot to touch on this, but like they had the whole like cavalcade of, people from the first 3 movies show up at the end, right? In the wedding.
In the wedding, yeah. The
like that's totally like
this
is, yeah, like this is our final, this is our send off, this is our, like this, it has to be like the last movie in the main line, yeah.
And that's why I said, if you come back for 5 and you bring these 2 back, like I'm gonna be hugely disappointed in that, and like just let it end, because I think it's actually. What you think of the movie, whether you like the movie or not, fine. But I think it's a really true, fitting send-off for these characters. And just let it be that. That's okay.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of series kind of wrap up, nicely that way, so.
No, it did it better than, and I liked Dial of Destiny, but it did it better than Dial of Destiny did. It, I think it stayed really true to who the characters were. And kind of let them go out on their own terms, and I like that about it. So
sure.
Just let it be, let it sit. Don't do phase 2, but have it be other people. Bring in, have a new Captain America, a new Ed Warren at this point, and
right,
come and do it. So, all right, that's gonna do it for us. This turned into a long ass review of an hour, but we liked the movie, so go see it.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, go see it and definitely see it in theaters. Like,
yes.
Do not wait for the digital. Like, you will enjoy this so much more if you see it in theaters.
As is the case with most movies. But...
Yeah, and especially in horror, I think. So,
sure.
All right, Ben, thank you for coming and talking The Conjuring. I could talk about this shit for another 2 hours, but we'll go.
Of course.
Anyway, join us for our pop culture podcast every week. And then also, Ben and I play video games and talk about MLB The Show a lot. You can check that out as well.
Even more than this, if you could imagine.
Even more than this. And then I've got, like I said, other videos up on The Conjuring, ranking all the films, and then also Screaming and Conjuring, looking at that book. So check that out as well. And we'll be back in some form or combination of us to talk The Long Walk next week, which is... the latest Stephen King adaptation. But, okay. We're out. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
See ya.